Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of Ball, Bucks, and Beards. Again, 3 more than we thought we would ever have, but
Yeah, we thought last one was the farewell tour.
yeah, and it was a good one. I'll let you talk about the numbers here in a little bit, but
Well, thanks to you guys who shared it and liked it and did all that, that was our most viewed podcast so far.
Yeah.
So we're hovering around the 650 view mark and stuff. Got 80 subscribers as of yesterday. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. And Bobby said we only had 10 or 12. So
yeah,
you're at the big time today.
So this is our you're special. You're the first ever guest on the podcast.
Well, I have to say, by the setup, I can tell I'm the first, just so everybody knows. They've got me. They pulled a rolling chair out of storage, and I'm sitting on a stack of books to try to get to the same level as these guys. So I have a feeling that it's pretty obvious I'm the first guest.
Yeah.
At this point.
Welcome to the big leagues, Bobby.
Welcome to the big show. So Bobby is a 1996 graduate of Doniphan High School, and we're going to have some more stories about that here. Can't wait when the actual roast fest starts. But
I knew I was in trouble when I walked in, and you have a page of notes. I thought, oh boy.
well, you know me, Vegas, Mr. Prepared.
Yeah, preparation.
Handwritten notes.
Yeah.
I was doing the beginning of the year thing because Jimmy never comes to the first day of school, and so I'm doing it for him. And I was like, if you can't tell, your coach is from the old school because here's his notes, and they're handwritten. There's a couple older dads in the back going, yeah.
So we have a sponsor for this week's show, Ben Craig, Poplar Bluff Realty. We appreciate that. Coach, let you tell him about the
He reached
t-shirts.
out. He wanted to sponsor this week's episode, and he is also helping us out getting some T-shirts. So I know we've had some people want to know when the gear drops.
merch. I think the proper term is the merch line.
The merch line.
Merch.
Yeah. We got some merch coming. We're actually going to get some T-shirts made, and those are in process right now. So we will have in the description on our YouTube channel today, you can click the link to pre-order the first ever Ball, Bucks, and Beards T-shirt. And Big Ben Craig and Poplar Bluff Realty are sponsoring those. So
Yeah, they're going to have
big shout out. If you need to buy a house or some hunting property, look him up.
Yeah.
We may have
Hit
to
him
make
up.
a commercial for him. I don't know.
Well,
we're
I'm
ready to
sure
make a
that's
commercial.
coming. I'm sure that's coming. I mean, I'm sure everybody wants that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why wouldn't they?
That's kind of a crazy question to even ask, right? Of course they want you to do it.
Yeah. Dynamite drop in, Monty, by the way. Movie?
Yeah.
Movie?
Dynamite drop in?
Dynamite drop in, Monty.
I don't know.
Just a bit outside.
Major League?
Yeah.
See, you got to use
He
better
didn't get it
things.
either.
No, I didn't get
I
that.
didn't get it either.
And then we're repping the hats today.
Morrow Farms, thanks to Bob Morrow and J.C. Morrow for the hats. J.C. Morrow is obviously the brains of that operation.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I don't guess Bob did a great job umpiring yesterday
Yeah,
because
we lost.
We lost. Close game. He's usually supposed to help that out at home.
We're going to have
but
to talk to him about that.
his pace going down.
I guess we can start talking about some current events. Hurricane, is it Helene?
Helene?
Yeah.
I'm going to get on this
Okay,
for a minute
fire away.
because my brother-in-law, who's basically my brother, is my best friend growing up. He lives right outside of Asheville, North Carolina, and we just got a hold of him like yesterday.
Really?
Like there's no power, no nothing. Like him and some neighbors have been digging like rocks out of the side of the mountain that they're on to make a road to get to town.
Yeah.
He said on the other side of the mountain, there's this whole community that lived there, and there's only one road, and they were all on it. Like 20 cars was on it to get out, and they all got swept away, and every one of them died and drowned. And it's like, he said, you can't even imagine how bad it is. And like you were saying yesterday on the news,
They're talking about still finding bodies in treetops, in the top of treetops and stuff.
yeah, and we've got our wonderful administration going
Well,
to give them all $750.
Yeah, we gave Ukraine $134 billion. But speaking of that, we might as well say it. I hear the train coming.
It's coming around the bend.
Hey,
Yeah.
when I was waiting on you guys to get here, because I was told to get here at 8:50, And I got here a couple minutes early, and security had to meet me outside. I waited so long on these guys, but one of the kids that got off a bus, it was kind of funny. One of them walked by and says, "What's J.D. Vance doing here?" I kind of looked around for a second, and then I realized, oh, okay.
Yeah, you did real good on the debate, by the way.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, they said that he was a little too masculine, and they think maybe it was his beard. And I get that, Bo. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that a lot.
Yeah,
so I
speaking, I was
understand.
going to say, have you got? Is that that's not a toupee on top, is it?
It is not a toupee, but
It kind of.
One of the things that-
Are you sure?
when you start talking about Trump, one of the things that I relate to him is the older you get, I understand that pushing hair around to cover
Yeah.
the weak spots deal that
Yeah.
he does. Like, I get that now. But no, it's not a toupee, all real.
Well, you should have seen me this summer. I was rocking the skull this summer.
Yeah.
Better
Okay.
get into some sports.
Yeah.
Better get into some sports
Yep,
here.
It is. It's time for sports. The DHS football, 3-1.
3-1.
Big win over Dexter
Yep.
Monday night.
Yep, and coach is talking about that could be a real tough game. Dexter's got 80 kids on their roster, and we're rocking out 23 kids.
Yeah.
And it was a close game at halftime. I think 6-12 we were up, and then it just kind of opened up into the third and had a couple players really play really good, and they're rolling 3-1, looking good. Probably would be 4-1 if Haytai didn't cancel. So they're doing some good stuff.
And we got fall baseball going on and fall softball, and they're
I think the Dons take on Naylor today.
Ripley County rivalry.
Yep, at Naylor. So that's going to be a good big conference game for us. So
And their district starts, the baseball starts the conference tournament week after next,
Yep.
I think. And then I think that's when softball.
we're fixing to hit a little stretch of conference games, playing Puxico, playing East Carter, Naylor today. So
Right.
big games coming up for the Dons.
Chiefs 4-0.
Yep, Patrick
Ba-
Mahomes killed his best player on the team. The Rice, he took him out.
Rasheed Rice.
Yeah, said he's only going to
You
be
wanna
out
say-
4 weeks, they said.
You want to say Pachinko again or
Pachenko.
Pacheco?
Yeah, I'm not listening to you. You couldn't even speak last time.
Your boy John Mozeliak gave a
Mozeliak?
nice little press conference. He's back for one more year, by the way.
One more year. He's gone, but he's going to do one more year.
Yeah, so now we got to set. I'm not going to watch
Well,
because it ain't nothing good going to happen.
Do you see those crowds at the end of the year? And there's a lot of people not watching.
yeah, that's amazing to see crowds like that at Busch Stadium. But by the way, we call Bobby Ball Vegas.
How'd that happen?
I think
Of all the things you guys were going to talk about, that's the one thing that I don't know exactly. I don't have a good story. I'm pretty sure. I like to say it's because I was such a good gambler back in the day, but I'm pretty sure it was probably somebody making fun of an awful bet I made at poker or something. Said, "Watch it, old Bobby Vegas is at it again" or something. I don't even really remember. I have a feeling that Jody Burke has something to do with that.
that would not surprise me at all. So I guess let's get into talking about Bobby. The Roast Fest starts. First of all, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming up with the disco bowl nickname.
Oh, well,
You want to tell that story?
So you were notorious for lack of preparation for your clothing
Yeah.
prior to games. So it was always a last minute search for Jimbo to find clothes to wear. And so we were sitting in the gym because I had managed to pull off a schedule where I was in the gym like 5 or 6 hours.
6 hours.
Six hours.
We've now referred to it as the Bobby Ball schedule.
Well, it's well deserved because I really worked hard to get that schedule. But they had the conversation took off, and Bo's like, "I don't have anything to wear tonight. I'm going to have to go." And so he decides he's going to go to Jimmy D's and rob his closet to find some clothes. And I didn't really think a whole lot about it. I thought, Jimmy D's a professional. He's got nice clothes. He'll come back and wear something pretty snazzy. But apparently, he got in the back of the closet, and he shows back up about 5 seconds before the buses to roll out, and he has on this 1965 butterfly collar that the collar comes down to like his shoulders. And it has that the first button doesn't start till right here, so it's almost like that Elvis look.
Yeah.
And he has on a coat that's about 6 inches too short. And he just comes walking in, and the minute I start giving him grief about it, he's like, "What?" what? Like he thinks it looks good. Like was Darlene and Jimmy didn't have mirrors at that time, or I didn't know exactly what happened. But surely to goodness you realized that was going to catch something.
Well, you know, me, I'm usually always on the cutting edge of fashion.
Yeah.
But I guess I wasn't that night.
No. So I did Disco Bo, and I said, "Oh, hey, nice outfit, Disco Bo." And man, it took off. 20 years later, I have kids still not even having any idea that I have something to do with it, and say something about Disco Bo. I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. That deal stuck.
Lots of Supermans were given in vain over
Yes.
over that. So
And that's-
all the kids thank
and-
you from whatever year
And
that
that
is.
yeah, and that had died down, but now it's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
put it on a shirt last
Yeah,
year.
we did. But
Man, that's awesome.
you had Spike on yours. So.
Yeah, I don't even know
Yeah.
what that means.
Well, all right. So let's talk about some of your high school days, your high school sports days.
Okay.
First of all, before we talk about that, I need to bring up the fact a day when you qualified for the state golf tournament, and we went up to play a practice round, and I'm carrying this big old, got to walk. Believe it or not, I walked 18 holes that day. Yeah, labor golf, I call it, and I'm carrying this big old, big old heavy bag, not even a carry bag, and I proceeded I think I wore Vegas out.
So I didn't take notes. I actually put some in electronics. They're not handwritten, but one of the stories that I do remember wasn't a roast on Jimbo. This is actually one of those that I look back and I'm like, man, that was quite a deal. We went to the state golf tournament, and Jimbo, he puts his Parts Plus bag that he had Gary Crockett had give to him or something. I'm not sure. Half the zippers were broke. And, he had clubs that were about 20 years old, and he puts them in the back of the truck. And, of course, I'm not putting my stuff in the back of the truck. I'm putting it up here because it's supposed to rain. He's like, I'm not worried about it. So on the way up there, it pours on his bag, like pours. So when we get to the course, I'm like, Bo, you just walk with me and help me look at this course because, you're obviously not going to play with those clubs. Well, he goes to start, oh, no, I'm playing. He pulls them out, and water's pouring out of the bag. Everything he has is completely soaked, and I'm like, this is an embarrassment. We're at this high-dollar country club. My coach has got a bag that's broke down.
He's your coach.
He's my coach.
So he's embarrassing you out
Yeah.
there. What course was it?
I think it was Country Club of Missouri at that
Yeah,
time, which
that's
is
good.
Several $1,000 initiation fee, yearly dues,
Yeah.
and the members are looking at us like we're Ned and the First Reader rolling out there.
Hey, there's a net in the first reading.
So he embarrasses me. We go to the first tee, and I'm like, oh, man, we got to get on the course. Too many people are staring at us. All these kids that I play against, they're like, yeah, your coach. What's the deal with that? And I'm like, I don't know. And so we tee off, and with these broke-down 20-year-old wet clubs, Bo absolutely did. He wore me out. It wasn't just a couple of shots. He beat me by 5 or 6 shots, and I could play back then. And, I think he shot 1 or 2 under on a course that was very tough with no telling what he would have done with decent clubs that weren't soaking wet. And it wasn't a carry bag either, by the way. It was one of those staff bags that's like this big around, soaking wet. So
Probably weighed 80 pounds.
Yeah. We Coach and I talk about this all the time. Coach Epps and I do. We got to hear the you don't have a gut in your stomach story.
Yeah. So that's my favorite Coach Shane story. That's my go-to because Coach Shane and I had a great relationship. Being a point guard, there's a lot of responsibility that come with Coach Shane, and I give him and Randy. I've been lucky enough to get through a lot of leadership training in my career, and I always give them credit that playing basketball for them and being a point guard in their system in high school was as good a leadership training as I've had in my career, and that's the truth. To this day, it's still the best leadership training I had. They're great people, but we were at Malden and come out flat, and of course, being a point guard, it was my fault that we were flat, and we get down 20, 22 points. And we go into halftime. And if anybody from Malden's listening, if you still have broke stuff in your locker room, call Shane Benson because he went in and was throwing baskets around and really throwing a fit. And, being the point guard, I knew it was going to come to me at some point. And he looks at me and he says, and you don't have a gut in your stomach. And that's why you can't win a golf tournament. And I thought, man, that's a low blow. What's up with that?
Because it's got to translate. Golf's got to translate.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought up golf.
So he that story, I get my feelings hurt, and so then he after we come out of the halftime, I go into like a full court one-man press, and man, he's calling timeouts. We go to the huddle. I won't make eye contact with him. I'm really mad at him. Well, anyway, we make a big comeback, and we come back to that. And at the end of regulation, it's a tie game. We get a rebound. Somebody throws an outlet pass, and this kid fouls me. I have no idea why. With 1 second left, fouls me. So I go to the other end for a 1-and-1. Game's tied. Coach just told me I was gutless at halftime. And Jason Harlow walks up to the free throw line. There's 1 second left. I really don't want to talk right now. I just want to, knock his free throws down so Coach don't tell me I'm gutless again. And Jason Harlow walks up, and he's standing beside me, and I look over at him like, what? And he says, why doesn't Brutus eat the spinach and beat the crap out of Popeye? And I was like,
What's
I don't
going
know.
on?
I don't know. But it worked, whatever it was. I just kind of laughed, and he walked away, and I managed to rattle in a couple free throws. So, yeah, that's you don't have a gut in your stomach. He denies that, too. He says he don't remember
does
that.
he?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see him this year, and we'll
Yeah.
bring that up.
That's a true story.
Sometimes in coaching, you say some things that you might regret, but I don't know. That's pretty good.
Coach Epps has got one when I started helping him last year when I was assistant. I think it was the first game. I'm sitting over there on the bench, and something happened on the floor, and he says, he said, golly, Bill.
Golly, Bill.
And, Coach, can you explain it? I looked at one of the players like, what is that?
It probably had something to do with running a play and
but
missing a wide open.
What does golly Bill mean?
Oh, shoot. I don't know. It's frustration just bubbling out. I don't know.
Okay.
But it doesn't sound like you got a lot of it out with golly
Bill.
Golly, Bill.
No, well, I'm not going to curse if that's what you want me to do. I'm not going to do that. I've tried all this with boys. I think that stuff works. Like sometimes getting them mad, or I don't know if it does these days because I ain't coached them in so long. But like girls, that don't always work.
No,
because I've went in the locker room and done that before. When I first started doing girls, and I got in one player, and I was and we were playing Naylor,
Right.
and we were like down 1. And it absolutely backfired, and we lost by 10. So you got to learn your audience a little bit.
Well, speaking of that, everybody's got to have every player's got the same rules. Everybody has the same rules, but every player can't be treated the same.
No.
If that makes any sense.
Right, and there's things that get you going that ain't going to get me going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's motivated a little bit different.
Yeah.
And
Some players you can get on, and some players you can't.
Yep.
I mean, it's just
a lot of them, they already know. Like, they already know they're feeling bad. Like, I'm playing like heck right now, and I just need to get over here and get my mind right. And then some of them, they want you to. I've had them tell me, when you take me out, will you tell me something? And I said, yeah, I sure will. So everybody's different. So the gut, no gut in it.
Yeah, it got me going. I don't know if it would have worked twice because I still kind of, 30 years later, I still kind of got my feelings hurt over it, I guess. But
so, all kidding aside, just tell us what wearing the black and gold. Bobby played. His team actually started his senior year actually started Doniphan boys basketball on a really good path. They hadn't been very good before that, and so just kind of tell us what wearing the black and gold, and what that year meant to you. And you can talk about the Charleston games. You want to talk about the Charleston game? Yeah.
Well,
Too soon?
yeah. Still, I did have to watch the clip of it the other day. Somebody shared it on Facebook, and I did watch it. But before that, I'd never even seen it. Basketball at Doniphan, I just alluded to it. Just the leadership that I learned playing under the Bensons. When you came back to Doniphan, and Randy and Shane had got the program. It was really a magical time. Doniphan was a special place, and the basketball program had really taken off. And Randy got here. We were in middle school, and we were really good. We were not been beat and all of that. And I remember Randy coming into the old middle school gym, and I remember this like it was yesterday because it was the first leader that I'd ever really heard. And he sat us down as like sixth graders, and he was telling us that if you want to achieve something, tell me who you want to be like. And of course, we want to be the Charleston Blue Jays. And Coach Randy said, if you listen and you'll work hard and you'll believe in each other, there'll be a time when Doniphan basketball is better than the Charleston Blue Jays. And even then, we knew we were good, but I thought, man, that's a big hill to climb right there. And he said, but I'm not kidding you. He said, it's going to take a lot of work, but he said, I believe in you guys. You believe in me, and we'll believe in each other. And he said, we're going to do this. We're going to take this thing. And looking back on it, for him to show up at the 6th grade and say that, he knew what he was doing. He's building tradition, and he was building a culture. In my line of work now, I understand exactly you have to go to those levels and start that culture because it's a long-term deal. Well, going forward, we got into high school, and Brock was a few years ahead of me, and Brock was an unbelievable player, and I got a lot of good stories about Brock, but he set that tone, and he was such an unselfish player to us. And I was a sophomore, and Brock was a senior, and I played behind him, and there wasn't a whole lot of playing time when you played behind Brock as a point guard, but I learned a lot, and Brock made sure I learned a lot. He's really a great guy. And so then when it came to our junior year, we had really high expectations, and we kind of fell flat because we didn't have the horses to really compete with the big dogs. We could beat some teams, and we beat New Madrid. At New Madrid, that was a big win, but when it came down to it, we just weren't ready to take it over the top. Well, then we roll into our senior year. Coach Shane is, from the beginning, we're not preparing to just win. We're preparing to beat Charleston and win a state title. And so the whole year we're running drills and we're doing things that he's showing his belief in us that we're going to take this thing over the top this year. And we believed. And through the course of the year, we had some really good highlights. Elsinore was really great that year, and they managed to beat us, I think, 3 different times. So we kind of run into them every time we went somewhere. But we got all the way to the district champions, to the district tournament, and we win our first round, and we're up against Charleston, and it's like, here it is. And being in the gym with Jimbo, we talked about it all day, and I remember saying that there ain't a whole lot of us that believe in this, but we're going over there to win. We're not coming back losers today. And I don't think anybody else in the whole world believed it, but we believed it. And we went to that gym, and we played Charleston, and we gave it all we had. And I hate to say we got cheated, but when it comes down to it, we played them Nip-and-Tuck. It went back and forth, and Michael Bass, who was also a great player, who's kind of forgotten to history, but he was an unbelievable athlete. He hit a shot to put us up by 2 points with a couple of seconds left, and they called timeout. And when they did, they went back, and the referees got together and reviewed it, and they added 3 seconds back to the clock because they said the clock didn't stop in time. And that gave them 5 seconds to go the length of the floor, and we were up by 1. I said mistook there. We were up by 1, so they had 5.5 seconds. They went the length of the floor and hit a shot at the buzzer to beat us and knock us out. And then we watched them the rest of the state tournament, and I mean nobody played within 20 points of them. They literally, it was an awful way to end it. But then when Doniphan basketball became Doniphan basketball, after that it was like, you know what, that was still the turning point. That's when there was some kid that didn't believe yet that saw that thought, holy cow, we can compete on this level. We can compete with these schools. So it was sad to end that way, but at the same time, I took a lot of pride, and I know my teammates did. We took a lot of pride in that being a stair step for Doniphan basketball to kind of achieve great things after that. So
it's like that's how tradition starts.
Yeah.
And you got that kind of culture, and then I know you're hearing all, but having a leader is the difference in that or not. You probably don't even remember how many points you scored that night or anything like that because it don't matter to real leaders. They just, what's the goal?
Yeah.
What do I have to do to get to the goal? And I'm willing to do whatever that is, whether I got to score 10 tonight or.
It's not about the role, it's about the goal.
Yeah.
And Coach Epps has done such a great job. When he got here with the girls, there was no tradition. The tradition and the culture were gone. He's done such a great job. Has such a great culture, and he's got us knocking on the door again. And so
Coach Epps, you and I don't know each other really well. We kind of missed that. I was gone before you got here, and then I was going on living life, and when you rolled into Doniphan. But I saw Jimbo after he got on the bench with you, and I ran into him, and he gave you the best compliment that you could ever give it in Jimbo speak. And I run into him, and I said, Bo, you're 73 years old. What are you doing, assistant coaching? What are we doing? And he looked at me and he said, Coach Epps gets it. He's got it. And he didn't have to say anymore. Like
Yeah.
I didn't say elaborate on that. I knew what he meant.
Yeah.
And then he went on. He told me a little bit more. But you got what you did last year. What you're doing with the program. You know, we don't have a lot of things in Doniphan that just to really celebrate. But our sports programs and our basketball, that's who we are. And I am very appreciative for the work that you've done in bringing that culture back and putting this guy on the bench with you, because that means a lot to a lot of us. I didn't get to make it to a whole lot of games, but I can honestly say I think I watched almost all of them on YouTube, which is amazing what these guys do with YouTube. But, you know, I hated your year ended the way it did, but, man, what an accomplishment, what a year. And like you said, it's tradition. All of a sudden now Donut basketball is Donut basketball, and I love it, man.
Well, I appreciate that, but like when I got here, all I could keep in my mind is Jimbo. And like, we got to get it somewhat back to that. In my first year, we made it to the OFC Championship game, and Bob Morrow, of all people, came up to me, and it's a serious conversation, which is odd. He said, I haven't seen the girls ever play like this since Jimbo was here. And that was like the biggest compliment ever to me. Because when I went to go get a head coaching job when I was like 25 years old, he wrote me a recommendation, and I remember it to this day. He's like, Coach Epps is going to be a superstar in this profession. And at that point, I didn't know if I was. I didn't think I would, but I believed I could because he put that down. And you got to have people that believe in you to be able to accomplish your goals. And we've been having fun, and he's staying on the bench as long as he's still kicking. He's in.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of old.
You
but,
are old.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to have to wear the Parker this year.
Our maternity top.
Maternity top.
You have lost some weight. Is that Jenny Craig or Ozempic or what?
No, it's not. It's all natural, Vegas.
All natural. Well, good for you. Good for
All
you.
natural.
I was betting on Jenny Craig.
Yeah, yeah.
You, when you have somebody like Jimbo, people make fun of people that just live in their high school days, like, oh, well, that was your best years of your life was in high school. It's not that. It's those people overlook what high school basketball's done for you. You know, like I said, the things that I learned playing under the Bensons, the things I learned being around Jimbo, you take those forward with you in life, and then you look back and you want other kids to experience that. Those people that say you're living in your high school days, they don't understand what those high school days did to prepare us for life. And it's not like I went on to life and made nothing but great choices, and I'm running for president or anything else. You know, I'm a human being, and I've made a lot of bad choices, but those things that I learned then are the reasons that I've made comebacks and I've overcome those things. That was where, and a lot of the kids that I work with now, they didn't have those opportunities. You know, they're kids that have been in trouble, but I feel sorry for them because not only did they have, for the most part, rough family lives, they didn't get a chance to work with coaches like Jimbo or the Bensons or you. You know, had they had that, they would have had the structure and all of those personality traits to thrive and overcome things. So it's extremely important. Sports are so important. I'm not a big football fan, but I love that football's back. Anything that kids can do to work with people, adults that care about them, that's what it's all about.
I agree so wholeheartedly on that. And the thing that is tough now is like my generation of parents. It's not the kids, it's my generation of parents has got it all wrong because we've just tried to make their lives easier. Mm-hmm. What can I do to make little Jimmy's life easier or on all that? So if they're not starting, if they're not getting to shoot the ball 15 times, if they're not the quarterback, if they're not playing shortstop, like, okay, I'm out. You know, and it's encouraged like on that front. And it's sad because people that have had experiences like you know, that you carry with you the rest of your life is like, they don't get that. And it's hard and it's becoming more prevalent. And I wish we had a way to fix it.
I think things like what we're doing right now, and I don't know, maybe if you listen real close, you can hear the people turning this off. Maybe it won't entertain them, but I have to think that there are people that are listening to this conversation that do get it because the culture is so toxic. You know, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of kids over the course of the last decade, and these are kids that I see are a product of the culture. You guys are seeing kids in school that are and it is toxic right now. It is a very self-centered approach to life that doesn't teach you to care about the person next to you. And empathy, and all of the things that are important to be good human beings. And unfortunately, those are getting skipped. Sports provides that. And you said earlier you don't remember how many points you scored. Well, I can promise you it wasn't very many. But the reality of it was it didn't. That wasn't even questioned.
Right.
You know, that my mom and dad knew nothing about sports, but the one thing that they did know was that they trusted the Bensons to have my best interest.
Yeah.
And they weren't about to question them. And in fact, if they heard me whining, the one thing my mom would say is, you know, you need to get your head right because that's not what they're doing up there, and you know that. So that's the difference in the culture then and the culture now. And I think it was toward the tail end of that culture was when I came through. So I think we have to bring it back. And I think that pendulum's swinging. I do think I see a swing happening, and I hope it does come around.
Well, before we move on to hunting, want to thank our sponsor again, Ben Craig from Poplar Bluff Realty. So let's talk about hunting. Vegas, let you go first.
Well, yeah, since I'm the only thing that one that's killed anything,
Well,
I guess I'll talk about the hunting.
I did
right.
want to go ahead, and then I did want to talk about that buck a little bit. I did.
So, you know, I don't know you guys where you're going with this podcast, but this hunting stuff, you guys, first off, when I saw the title, you know, Ball, Bucks, and Beards, I was shocked that Jimbo was your co-host. Because the ball part, yeah, so much. I don't know about the Bucks and Beards, you know. I'm not sure that you picked you know, I think maybe we need to rework through this title and the topics here. But, man, I fell in love with hunting about 10 years ago. And on a serious note, life's tough. You go through tough things. And I hunted my whole life, but I didn't really take it serious. About 10 years ago, I absolutely fell in love with hunting mature, high-pressured whitetail bucks. And I mean, I am ate up with it. And, you know, lucky enough to connect with a few of them. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. You know, I listen to the Southern Outdoorsman, man. Anybody that wants to learn about hunting.
I like that one.
Man.
I like that one. They sometimes they talk a lot about that Alabama region, which don't relate, but they still get some hunting ridges and thermals and all that. It's really good stuff on there.
You can pick up a lot from them. And even I was listening to a guy that was hunting on the coast. And it was like, it doesn't apply, but then it does apply because he was talking about certain things that he sees that he didn't know if it was around the country. But I've experimented a lot. Just for instance, I experiment a lot with scents. And a lot of people don't believe in this, don't believe in that. But in the rut, I use a lot of scent, and it's not to attract bucks. It's to attract does, because does that are trying to shake a buck, a lot of time if they're getting chased, those does will come and stand on that scent, hoping that buck will shake. And I don't rattle much unless it's in the rut, and it's not to rattle in a buck. It's to rattle in a doe that's listening, that's getting chased, that's trying to lose a buck. So there are things like that I think you can pick up from those guys. But, man, it's an awesome podcast. I listen to it all the time. So, yeah, I don't know. I was lucky enough to connect the other day. You know, hunting's like life. And the harder you work at it, the luckier you get. And I got lucky. You know, I'd walked 10 or 12 miles on this new property, and I was kind of scout hunting, which I always do. I don't ever just scout to scout. I scout hunt. And I saw wind direction. I saw oak layers on my Onyx, and I walked a route to scout while I was hunting and come into a pinch that I thought that bucks might be using from where I assumed they were bedding, which is the thickest stuff you could possibly get in always. And as I walked into it, I saw a bunch of sign and could see some whip rubs. And I thought, okay, bucks are feeding here. It's the first feed sign. There's oaks all over this property. It's the first oaks that I saw some buck sign. And I thought, I'm going to ease into there, and I'm going to get my climber up in the tree, and I'm going to sit till dark. As I was walking into it, I looked over toward the creek where the brush was at, and I could see half his head and antlers over a little rise. And I was like, holy crap. So I kind of eased up to a tree and just sat there. He heard me come off that hill, but he probably hadn't heard a human that had come off there before. So he sat there, and he kept looking back, and about 30 minutes later, he stood up and took a few steps toward me and
Whacked him.
and finished him off.
I was going to compliment you on that 105-inch 8-point.
It's all about angles in the pictures. Somebody asked me how big it was. I'm like, it's all about the angles, man.
Yeah, that, you know, that'd have been a dandy next year.
Yeah. But you have, when you hunt,
First off, was it on public?
it was on private.
There's
Okay.
Mr. Public right here. Although he is hunting the double F some, I tried to set him in a gar hole the first time, but he's a good enough hunter. He's
He figured it
he's
out.
figured it out. Yeah.
So you are a mobile hunter. like me, but you do climber?
I've got a climber. I usually sit on the ground. I had a climber because I was wanting to get up off the ground where I thought that I would end up. So I had a climber on my back, but I hunt off the ground a lot.
Holy cow.
Well, Coach
Oh, boy.
yesterday comes in school with this contraption. It's a saddle. Coach is hunting in the saddle yesterday. I'm like, you're going to have to go to the chiropractor tomorrow. And you got to be like a 8-degree, what do they call it, Eagle Scout to figure out the knots and everything. You had to tie it in. You had to slip your hand through one. Yeah.
Actually, it
how'd
ain't
that
that
go?
complicated, and it was actually pretty comfortable. I was surprised. Like, I feel like I move a lot more in it because you stand up, you lean back, you put your knees against the tree. But I mean, some of us still got a little athleticism left in us, and I think I'm a tree ninja. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd do it all the time, but I've always razzed people about wearing saddles, calling it a love swing and all this kind of stuff. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna add it to the old tool belt. It's carrying less stuff. It's carrying less stuff. And if you've ever seen me hunt, because I bring my camera and the arm and everything, my pack's pretty
And you
heavy.
lost your thermocell at my place. last
Thank
Saturday.
God for Daniel Monsieur found that because I was just getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, looking for that everywhere. And he sent me a snap. You lose a thermocell? I was like,
Yeah.
thank you, God.
Well, here's my recap of my last week. 2 does. Okay, you guys go ahead.
You know,
That's it.
you're going to have to, there's a lot of acorns in the woods, Jimmy.
That's
You're
because
gonna-
that's because those bucks are laying down saying it's time to lull. Everybody, we need to lull.
It's the October lull.
It ain't either.
We got
The lull.
a great acorn crop and the October lull.
you are. There are a lot of statistics that show that this is the case, but I don't think it takes the rocket scientists to figure this one out. When you have the acorn crop that we have, you're sitting over food plots and corn piles, like you're gonna have to get
No
He
corn.
said corn pile. He
No
said corn
corn piles.
no corn,
piles.
Hey, listen, here's the
Scratch that. There is no corn.
here's the greatest thing about corn.
No corn piles.
Oh my God.
No corn piles with the double S.
Show
Deer,
It's canceled.
deer corn is a $4 billion industry. Do you know I've never talked to anybody that hunts over it? I don't know who's buying this.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, no.
Nobody.
No.
That's it.
I was actually in the woods, just not very far in the woods, in my little comfortable shooting house, But
I seen a buck yesterday hunting in the saddle, by the way, and it was a little bitty old 6-point like this, and he come walking on, he hit the tree line, and he stuck his head up, and every single branch, I said, this reminds me of a freshman boy at school right now, because he thought he was the stuff walking through. He went every single licking branch on that row. It's like, guys, we're getting close to the good time. I mean, it's coming pretty
Well,
soon. I
Bo-
keep watching the weather.
Bo went what is this, Friday? Bo went Wednesday evening, I guess, and actually missed a really good buck. Said the biggest one that was chasing a doe, which I don't know what's going on with that. That's too
I got
early
a
for
picture
that.
that kind of looked like
Yeah.
a buck
Yeah.
was chasing a doe, which maybe they just get amped up like I do. My neck's all swole, can you tell?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I
Yeah,
think.
spike. Yeah, I can't spike.
Okay, stop it. Oh, boy.
So I guess we're about to wrap this thing up, but we had some questions last week.
Yeah, we got one question.
Okay,
If you
all
got a
right.
question, guys, send it to Adam
I guess
Epps.
you're gonna stay on your
35
phone the whole time, or you gonna get on him like you get on me.
Well, at least it
He's
ain't
on his
dinging,
phone.
and he knows we're not live
I
right
do
now.
know. Yeah, that was the first thing you asked when I sat down. I thought that was a joke till I heard you ask it. Then I was like, oh wow, he really does question whether this thing is live.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you got a question, send it to adamepps35@yahoo.com. We got a question here submitted by Kim Crockett. How old was Jimbo when he killed his first deer?
21.
Is that true?
That's a true story.
Was it a buck, doe, or spotted fawn?
Okay, it was a mature doe.
Let me finish the question.
Okay.
If a spotted fawn, did it still have milk around its mouth?
No, it was a mature doe.
If it was a fawn, did he have help dragging it out of the woods?
It was not a fawn. and Dad had an old Jeep Cherokee, and we threw it up on the hood.
That was you skipped that part. They wanted to know what did you kill it with? A gun, bow, bobcat, or car?
You sure that Kim asked this, or did Gary ask
Was
this?
it during the October lull? What was the moon phase? Was it in a high fenced area in his backyard? Kim Crocker, aka Monster
Kim
Buck
Crockett.
Slayer.
Yeah, that would be a negative on all four of those. It was
21. That's
And-
awesome.
for some reason they named it Sophie. I think Gary did Sophie. So, but guess what? If you come to the double F, Sophie, don't make fun of me. Sophie's on the wall.
No,
Oh, my gosh.
good grief.
How do I not know this?
Good grief.
on the wall.
Is it Bullwinkle?
Yeah, yes. Sophie is on the wall. Speaking of that, we got a guest next week. We got Brett Reed.
Oh yeah, we're going to shut the internet down.
And we're going to get on his wall. If you've ever seen Brett's wall, he got some roadkill deer on there.
You know you don't either.
He does too. Yes, he does.
I don't
Yes, he
believe you.
does.
We better get to story time.
Yeah,
And I think we're going to skip mine this week and just go to yours.
Okay, well, this is Bo's going to kill me for telling this, but so Bo's first basketball game, 5th grade, playing St. Paul down in Pocahontas. So we go to the game. Well, in the first half, they played zone. In the second half, I noticed they switched to man. Well, Bo was just still standing down there on the block in the zone the whole time. Coach Mark Thompson was trying to get him, to move. And so we get in the truck after the game. He's sitting in the middle. And I said, Bo, I noticed you guys played zone in the first half. Yep. Yeah, we did, Dad. I said, well, I also noticed that you guys went man to man in the second half, and you weren't guarding anybody. And he said, Dad, my man went out of the game. And I said, okay, son. We just went on home, but that's
good stuff right there.
You don't have one?
Yeah, I can tell my Jordan one real quick. Every dad thinks their son's going to play for the Cardinals. So I got Jordan playing T-ball, and he's like 4 or 3, and, he's bored because you just sit there and wait forever for somebody to hit the ball, and it's lame and all that. But, he's playing. He hits the ball. And first off, my parents are at the game. Like, they drove to Donovan. Gabriel's parents drove to the game. So there's a big crowd, and I'm coaching, and I'm putting it on the tee, so I'm at home. Jordan hits the ball, goes to second base. It gets by him in the outfield. So, run. Everybody's all excited, and I'm yelling, run. And Jordan crosses second base, and he locks eyes with me, and he proceeds to walk.
He stares you down. I would give anything to have seen that.
And not only does he walks from second base to third base, and I didn't say a word. I just stared right back at him because my blood pressure went to 275. He got to third. He walked all the way to home
Staring you
and
down.
touched it. And if my parents wouldn't have been there, my dad wouldn't have beat me. I wanted to grab him by his heel and just wear him out right there.
I love Jordan at the pre-K graduation when they've all got to do their little dance, and Jordan's just standing there. He's not.
Yeah, and we're
having
trying to get him to dance,
yeah,
and
I
come
see.
on,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he just stares us down. It's like he's not a people pleaser, but anyway,
You have one Vegas off the top of your head?
Let me go with, I wore 2 numbers in high school, and they're both retired. One of them was Nick Wilson. Didn't have anything to do with him,
Right.
or didn't have anything to do with me. That was all him. But the other number that I wore for about half a game was at Naylor. Being Brock's backup, I said there wasn't a whole lot of playing time, but I like to tell this one if Brock's in the crowd at Poplar Bluff or something, and I'm talking it. I either talk about the time that we combined for 54 points. He had 49 of them.
And that was against.
Poplar Bluff.
Well, he also had. I'll tell you a quick story real quick. We played Donovan when I was at Naylor. Played them in the conference tournament. We do all this stuff to stop Brock. He still gets his 28 or 29, but like Jeff Dawes and somebody got like 30. Mm-hmm. So we play him again at Naylor, and I'm like, I'm just going to let Brock have his, and we'll stop everybody else. Brock got his, 49 of them.
Yeah.
High quality coaching.
Yeah.
Well, the other number that I wore for half a game was Brock's, and that took place. Brock was doing Brock step back three, steal, step back three. He rattled off about 20 points in a row. Well, he got his nose completely flattened, and when he got hit, blood poured down his shirt. Well, Randy, Coach Benson, he looks down the down the line there, and I think, oh my goodness, my time to shine. Here I go, and he looks at me, come on. So I'm peeling off my warm up. Here I go to save the day. You know, it's time for me to shine. And on my way through, I feel somebody grab me. You know, he had them cotton picking stand, strong hands
Yeah.
and forearms. He grabs my jersey on the way by and yanks me back. He says, "No, not checking in. Give Brock your jersey."
Yeah, that's good.
So that's the other half a game I wore, another retired number.
It's high quality.
awesome.
I think that's about it. But we are selling T-shirts, guys. If you want a T-shirt, get down on the bottom of the description, click the link, put what size you want. They're going to be, what did we say, $10?
I think that's what we
I
decided.
think we're going to sell them for $10 just to kind of get it out there. We want to thank Ben Craig from PB Realty for sponsoring the show and for sponsoring those T-shirts. But for Jimbo Blackwell and Bobby Ball, I'm Adam Epps. This is Ball, Bucks, and Beards, and we're out of here. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.